I mean, we are recording, so we could just start immediately right now if you guys would like to do that.
Hey.
Should we go into it?
Secret House.
Secret House.
Secret House.
Yeah, the Living Tribunal, the Triumvirate is back together again.
Triumvirate.
Yeah.
Nice.
I had to put that one in there. Triumvirate, flex a little bit with the vocab. You know what I mean?
SAT word.
Like, comment, subscribe. We are a music reviewing group or group of people. Triumvirate from not from Tokyo, but we all here in Tokyo, and we love music, and so we do that. You guys can check me out Mega Late Show once I start recording that shit again. Tokyo Hip Hop Art and Culture. El Spade, you've got things as well.
Oh, new album, El Spade 2, coming out November 16th. Download that. Tell me how garbage my music is. Appreciate you.
Rawhide Kobayashi in the house. I don't know. I'm hungover as fuck. Buy Spade's album. Support local independent art.
Support local and independent art. And today we've assembled together to talk about the album by Swindle, The New World. And this is my first time listening to the artist. So can you give us some information on who this person is?
Yeah, Swindle, Cameron Palmer, a musician from Croydon, South London, represents South London.
Croydon.
Croydon. It's a D, bro.
Oh, Croydon. All right, I'm good. Don't get at me in the comments, bro.
Shut the fuck up. It's cool. I'll punch you up, bro. But yeah, been doing this for some time now. Comes from that UK grime tradition, but always brought a kind of funk, jazz, soul kind of flavor to it. Put out a debut album, Long Live the Jazz, in maybe 2012 with a large list of collaborators. This kind of follows from that tradition. Most of you might be familiar with his song Forest Funk, which appeared on the GTA 5 soundtrack.
I've heard that then. I played GTA 5. I had no idea that he had been making music for that long.
He's been in it for a minute, yeah.
I assumed that he was, an accomplished musician, because these compositions on this album are not somebody that just learned how to work a beat machine at 19. This is a person that must have been, thinking about music and studying music probably at an academic college level.
Yeah.
This motherfucker is crazy, to be honest.
And this is something that has kind of always, even in his grimier work, his choice of chord progressions, his approach to constructing piano melodies and stuff are very, very complex. And his earlier work had a bit of a dubstep thing going on, and that was always something I didn't actually like about his work, is that he'd have these really nice, jazzy, smooth kind of very beautiful melodic sections, and then it would just drop into.
So you don't mean burial drums? You mean bro step? Like Skrillex, like Cookie Monster type of.
What would be considered bro step now? Maybe. Okay. I mean, that's still not giving him enough credit. I think even then, because it is of that grime tradition, and it sounds like grime and later drill, but. Yeah, some of the more dubstep-y moments on his earlier stuff, like his Do the Jazz EP, which is 2010, 2011, it would go from, being kind of jazzy and sometimes bossa nova, and then these kind of dubstep sections would come in, and, it was something you could play in the club, but at the same time, it wasn't something that I loved. So this album's quite a nice culmination of what I like about his work. In that respect.
Yo, everybody stop what you're doing right now. Listen to me. After you get through with this review, listen to this damn album. It's a beautiful masterpiece piece of art. This is everything I thought Kanye West album was going to be, and I wanted it to be.
I would never expect this from Kanye.
Oh my God, this is so beautiful, man. I'm not going to lie, I listened to this, I almost damn near cried, guys.
First time you've heard of Swindle?
Man, first time I heard it, I was like, oh my God, this is magical. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. Dead ass.
No shit.
Bruh, the chord progressions are so damn hard. The beats, the live instrumentation. Oh my God, it's just dead ass, guys. It's fucking beautiful.
Big up
This
Swindle.
album is everything the world needs right now. I have got a new purpose in life. To introduce everybody to this damn album, man. This album is fucking awesome.
It's interesting you said that, the world needs this right now, because obviously the name of the record is The New World. And as far as I could tell, I didn't do too much research on the background of this record. I was just like, oh, new Swindle, I want to listen to this. And he actually did something I didn't like, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But as far as I'm aware, the background of this record was that, he was kind of feeling, he put out a record last year, I think, called No New Normal. I think it was No New Normal, No Normal, No More Normal.
I didn't do much
something
research.
Like that.
I watched the 20-minute video though. Did you guys watch that?
I did not watch the video.
It's hard. It's dope.
No More
Watch
Normal. In 2019, so just before the pandemic, and I guess the pandemic was just kind of getting to him. So apparently he just like called up a bunch of his friends and they like left the city and just put something together.
Time well
like,
spent.
Outside, you know,
Time well
kind of
spent.
detached from the kind of madness of this pandemic era, especially, you know, London was hit very, very hard by the pandemic. We lost a lot of people back home. So I think, you know, this is kind of a moment of joy in a very dark time, you know, for the world as it is.
It's a tremendously beautiful album, and the compositions are really well put together. It's not like with the last time we reviewed Injury Reserve doesn't seem like a hip hop album to most people, and this album doesn't seem like a hip hop album to me either.
No,
This seems to me as like he's stretching out and he's making a variety of different music that's closer to an R&B, a contemporary R&B thing, but also the rap choices on this is some very like adult contemporary hip hop music that comes across.
I made a note that this is all purpose music that fits any mood, and there's like so many influences. You got a dub influence, you got a ska influence, a lot of ska influences in here, some jazz influence. Man, it's like a history lesson in the album.
It's almost a gospel aspects of it as well. Yeah,
it encompasses everything. Like, dare I say, black excellence in this album.
Is Swindle black?
Swindle is black. Yes.
Hey, shout out to Black Excellence.
Yeah, it's everything you
know what I
need.
mean? Like, I don't want to just give it out to anybody. We gotta have the
Identity
confirmation.
politics against the world.
Yeah.
It's a history lesson in the album, guys. So much influence in this, man. I was listening to everything. I'm like, yo, man, I hear a little bit of Rankin Roger in this junk, man. I'm like, yo, this junk is hard.
So one minor criticism I have before we get into the actual substance of the album. The album is about half an hour long, and by the time it came out, I had already heard like 5 of the tracks, like Blow Your Trumpet, Darkest Hour, Lost, No Black, No Irish. I think Sunday Best I'd already heard. Like I don't know if this was Swindle's decision or if it was BMG who put, who licensed it, but they released so many tracks off this album before it came out, and I'd already heard like half of it by the time the
you're being
record
kind of
came out.
nitpicky there, buddy.
Sure, but I think this would have been a magical experience if I just listened to the whole thing the first time, as opposed to being like, oh, new single in the lead up to the record. It's like, I like when an album comes out, I like to listen to the whole thing and not just like, oh, here's like the last 5 singles are on here and then like 5 other tracks, you know?
I think one of the things about the album is that the way it's sequenced is really good too.
Yeah.
So if you hear the
Tracking
songs
is
here
awesome.
and there, it's not putting the same like if they don't come out in the same kind of order that they're sequenced in, then it kind of gives it a different feeling, because it's sequenced in a way that even me, who kind of doesn't really listen to jazzy R&B, Esperanza Spalding type of stuff all the time, it kind of gets on my nerves a little bit, to be honest with you. It reminds me too much of cleaning on a Sunday morning at my house. It feels like some shit that I gotta, like, my dad enjoys. This is an album that I think my dad would enjoy.
I would also
more than
recommend
me.
this album to my dad. Yeah.
Right. My dad would love my dad. I'm going to put him on. Shout out to the Braves. He's real high off of that win right now. But I'm going to put him on to this. But I even when there's songs that I don't really care for, which tend to be the more R&B type of singing songs, I still think they're great. I still think they're good.
Yeah, I just think y'all shitting on the genius of Swindle right now by saying, yo, I'm going to introduce
This
my
motherfucker
dads.
loves this album so much, so he's not going to tolerate any.
Oh no, I the reason I say that is because, I mean, for a start, my dad is also from South London, but I remember like being in the car with my dad, like listening to Terry Walker, who's a singer who Swindle has collaborated with, you know, when I was like a little kid. And that kind of jazziness, that kind of sophistication is something that I know my father, who is a musician, would appreciate. And I think, you know, this is a record that is to be enjoyed by musicians especially. I think if you are someone who can appreciate good musicianship and the musicality of a record, this is something that's really going to hit. I'm not saying, if anything, I'm paying homage to my father by saying I recommend it to him.
Right.
Because my dad is a musician. He's a lover of music and like music for musicians.
What I was saying about the lulls before you start whooping everybody's ass in here is that even the songs that I don't like, it's sequenced in a manner that they don't overstay their welcome, and the next song likely pulls me back in the first place. And there's so many things going on in this album musically, it doesn't get tiring where it's like, damn, I'm tired of fucking R&B, because then it's like, okay, what is this dub coming out of nowhere? You know what I mean? So it's really good in that regard. I like this album a lot, but most of these songs I personally wouldn't go back to just because I don't want to listen to them. I love a song on this album. Blow Your Trumpet is fucking crazy to me, dog.
I tell you.
It is crazy.
Big
now,
up
first
Gets.
off, I know Gets, and I've heard of Nux, but I didn't know
Koji Radical.
And Koji Radical, right? Look, like when I first heard it, I was like, okay, this is a pretty different than the other tracks that lead up to it, right? It's a little bit more frenetic. The sample loop is really repeating, and you can hear like
verse
a
comes
movie,
in, and
you
the
can hear-
instrumental switches.
the bass line moves and moves, and then it disappears into these really hard 808s, and then fucking like old boy Akala, the third verse, around 2 minutes in, he starts going off on this like staggered triplet rhyme, and all of a sudden fucking these horn stabs come in and flourish into actual horns being played, and then a vocal choir comes in. Dog, the whole shit is crazy, and it sounds like there's parts of it where the drums kind of sound like some like 2012 Hudson Mohawk type of. It is so musical, and then it fucking ends with like this beautiful flourishing string section. I'm like, who is this? Who is this that's putting this shit together? Just he'll add like a little bit of the stab at like minute 1, and then 2, and then at 3 you get what the stab was coming from, like on some like RZA, Hell's Wind Staff.
Done way better,
1998
though.
shit.
Done way better.
Well, I mean, both of them are brilliant and genius, but what I'm talking about is like the intention behind the musicality is so thought out, and the way that it cohesively comes together. This is one of my favorite rap tracks of the year.
That's
One of
my
my
point.
favorite rap tracks of the year. It's fucking fire.
The musicality of this album is just undeniable, and you can hit on all the points I was going to hit on. Like, to fuse all those genres perfectly and in harmony just takes a genius, man. Like, yo, Swindle, man, if you watch this, man, yo, take me under your wing, like dead ass. Show me what you know. I will learn.
I mean, is he producing people like what Ninth Wonder was doing a few years ago, where he gets musicians and pulls them into play it, or is he playing these or sequencing them on like with kits off of a beat machine? I'm wondering how he does this. In the 20-minute video, there's a part where there's like musicians around that could very well be playing, the instruments.
Isaac Hayes in it or Quincy Jones in it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm wondering exactly what the creative process is here. If he's just got like it's like a fucking horn kit that he's fucking playing a horn,
or is it resources?
or
Like,
is he doing like a Aaron Cholai?
I believe
musicians?
he is like a pianist by trade,
trade.
like Aaron. So I think that is something that comes through very strongly, and in a way, I think it does. The Aaron Cholai is a good comparison. Like, it has that very, very jazzy heart to it. And then
Peep that Aaron Cholai too, if you don't know what we're talking about.
Aaron Cholai, that's just
crazy,
incredible. What do you guys think of the collaborators on there? Because obviously every track has like 3 different people on it.
I wasn't familiar with. I've heard of Loyal Carner before. I've heard of Nux and Gets, but everybody else, Koji Radical, Green Tea Pang. I don't know any of these other collaborators.
Koji Radical was my MVP on this
of them.
record. I really I felt like every time Koji Radical was on there, he was just bodying the track. Like I like his voice. He's got a very distinctive voice. He's got that very fast flow. But he's quite playful with his flows. Like I was really, really into how he was on this record.
I like that Akala verse.
I didn't know anybody on this, man. I didn't. Like, this is like my first
Even
time.
Gets.
I didn't know anybody. Gets. Like, I would put like this though. The what more Greta Ping, like Pang,
Green Tea Pang.
Oh my
Green
god,
Tea
that
Pang.
when she sung it hit me. I'm like, oh my god.
That's a joint that goes to the reggae dub type of shit.
Yeah, hit that
right?
dub, man. I was like,
Bro,
whoa.
this
And I
album's
would say
crazy.
if you like that kind of stuff, you should check out some of Swindle's older stuff, because he's lent into that kind of dub and dubstep by extension kind of sound a lot in his previous work.
This album is kind of the logical extension of the movement towards like hip hop as a legitimate art form that's full of musicality for me. Like back in the, maybe y'all don't remember this, but I remember reading like in Source and talking to older hip hop heads when I was younger. When the Roots were first coming out, people were saying, "Is this actual? Yes. Is this? Can this be hip hop? Because there's too much live instrumentation." Yep. And there was a point where I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It kind of has a different feel to it because it's not on a SP1200 or it's not on an ASR, right? Or an MP3.
That's always been like a limiting factor of hip hop. Right. Like people's like, yo, no, you can't have programmed drums. Right. If you don't have programmed drums, it's not hip hop.
Right.
But when you start bringing the live instrumentation in, I think that it brings another dynamics.
But it tends to also change the genre in a way that makes it. This album is, I'm not going to try to say it's not hip hop, but this also is just kind of like grown.
It's genre bending.
It's grown. Yeah. It's grown in a way that's why I call it adult contemporary hip hop, because it's grown in a way and it's all the logical progressions that you could take hip hop in.
True.
Outside of the lyricism, it's not like some currency scientific lyrical miracle adventure, but it works perfect.
Let me ask you though, like, because hip hop now has morphed into something more than hip hop. Even like most of your hip hop people now are singing due to the auto-tune. Mostly they beating the hell out of auto-tune, but like even your rap, even your hip-hop and your R&B groups now are rapping now. Would you not say that everything is leaning more towards a hip-hop format now?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the thick of things, but a lot of shit I don't even consider hip hop music. I don't consider sure, you can find in the hip hop section of a record store, but I'm talking about like that organic fucking participatory culture that I come from, not the offshoots of the Telecommunications Act and some white fucking A&R like pushing out toxic masculinity traits for black men.
Hear that, Future? You're not hip hop.
Like, I don't fucking know. Like I hate to draw that line, but yeah, I mean,
this album is
anything is hip-hop.
So participatory though. It is like open. And there are artists on here who do come from, you've got people like Akala and Loyal Kana, Koji Radical, who, have more of a hip-hop, as opposed to exclusively like UK grime kind of route to them. You've got Getz on there, who is, like a grime pioneer and like a legend of the genre. And people that I remember like watching like Getz versus Bashi's like freestyle battle. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting mad right now. If anybody from back home, some of you are gonna
British
know.
anger is like a whole different thing.
I know, right?
I hate to interrupt you, mate.
I'll show you guys that video. I'll show you that video later.
The words you're saying to me, bruv.
You wildin', bro.
No, I get it. That's hard though.
And there's all of that in this album, and I think that's something. And I think it's going to be a record that probably ends up winning like a bunch of Mercury prizes, and stuff, which is not necessarily something I care for. I don't feel like hip hop
popular.
Needs...
Like I didn't know he was like at that level of artistry where he get recognition.
Swindle. I mean, I wouldn't say Swindle is. You're not going to see him in the charts anytime soon. If you're like listening to the radio or watching TV, you're probably not going to hear anything off this record. Although like he's got Daily on there. Daily's had a few like kind of minor hits, collaborated with Gorillaz a few years ago and stuff.
I don't know. No, yeah, me too. Right, yeah.
Of course, Carson, right? Carson he's great. But before you finish that thought, I believe that anything, if Pearson says they making hip hop music, then it's hip hop music to me now. It's really that simple. If I don't care if Billy Ray Cyrus like I'm making hip hop music, fine, it's hip hop now. As long as there's the intention there to say you making it, I'm okay with it. But yeah, go on.
Also like Maverick Sabre is on there, and I've never been a fan of Maverick Sabre, but he was also someone who no black, no Irish. He's on there. Obviously, it's I've forgotten the other dude's name now.
That's a good track too, by the way.
It's a good track.
Shout out to the solidarity between one of the most oppressed groups, Yakubians.
Yeah. So Joel Culpepper, obviously he's black, and Maverick Sabre, he's British Irish, I believe. Like I think he's from the UK, but like of Irish heritage. So there is that kind of element to it. And I was never a fan of Maverick Sabre, but I think he's great on here. And just all in all, yeah, I really like this record.
There's really not a dull moment on it at all. It's really just a fucking great album,
and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's an easy listen, guys. It's only like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it's an easy listen.
It's considering the level of musicianship going on. It's absolutely not like a challenging record.
It
is something that is very, very easy to like just listen to and enjoy. There's a lot of great tracks.
Perfect
on there.
timing too, man. Like I feel like this album could have been pretentious if it would have lasted 40 minutes. But to end it at 30 minutes, it just gives you everything you need and it gets the hell out.
See, this is I think it has to do with approach to these motherfuckers is making adult contemporary hip hop music. They ain't trying to make no 50-minute albums. What was the Fonte album that came out like 2 or 3 years ago? 33 minutes.
Right.
Perfect length. You get in, he says a lot of shit that's important. He does it in some of the best ways possible within the genre, and then he's like, peace, enjoy it.
It's funny because as much as I like concise records, I honestly think this record could have been 5-10 minutes longer.
I mean,
you're kind of a pretentious person.
Give me more.
I am a pretentious person.
Give me more rap, and then I will enjoy it more. I like the rapping joints on this, but I mean, I can't say that I'm gonna go back and listen to no Irish too much.
I'm gonna listen to all this.
My Sunday best.
No, I'm too busy listening to the JPEG Mafia shit. Like I just, you know.
Yeah, I let y'all have that one, man. This was definitely up my alley, man. Thank you guys for introducing me to this.
It's all Jet, actually.
Thank you for introducing me. Like seriously, this was like one of those things when it hit me. I was like, oh my god, why don't I know about this guy, and why doesn't everybody know about this guy? It's a crime, shame that this guy is not like one of the top guys in the game. But this production is fucking awesome.
I don't think he'd want to be.
That's one of the things about like some of the best artists. Like you don't really hear about them until somebody like Kanye fucking takes or Drake takes that part of it. It's like this type of music is not really for the masses.
That's the sad thing, man. It should be like more people got put onto this, man. Maybe y'all step y'all musicianship up in your production. Dead ass.
The only reason I ever wish like more success towards my favorite artists is just so they can fucking eat without being stressed out about selling merch.
Starving artists, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the only thing I wish upon it. But yo, I've been into underground independent hip hop for so long. It's like the only thing that ever happens when my artists get huge is that the fan base fucking sucks. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. Their music might fucking suffer and the fan base fucking sucks. There's a lot of artists I don't listen to just because their fan base is mad trash. I refuse to listen to a Drake album because so many people got to tell me Drake top 5 all time. It's like, I don't care about the Certified Lover Boy. I don't do that. I'm listening to the JPEG Mafia until he's next to Carson Daly, and then I'm done.
I ain't got nothing to say, guys. Listen to this album. Seriously.
Yeah.
Big up South London, big up Croydon.
I would recommend this to all the cast at the VFW, all the retired military cast, all the black dudes that tuck their shirts into jeans and got nice boots on, you know what I mean? Like the Chelsea boots. Like my dad would rock with this album tremendously. I'd recommend this album to fans of The Roots. I'd recommend this album to all my British bruvs. And yeah, easily.
Let me just say, man, shout out to the British homies who actually add into hip hop, man. I'm a strong proponent in like being in this country in Japan where people just copy what they see. But like our British brothers actually been given to hip hop.
I get how people just want to emulate the shit because I watched the video of like a 20-minute video with like all the songs, but beautifully shot. Everybody is dressed to the nines and wonderful. And I was like, yo, I need to start acting a little bit more British. I think I'm gonna hang out with Jet more often. Just start stealing a little bit of his slang. Start sneaking in some words.
But see, they gave us grime. They gave us UK drill.
I mean, they gave us punk.
They gave us punk. Like they've been really given to the culture, man. If it's any critique I got about Japan is you guys are takers. Take. Start giving some stuff.
Well, Japan has a really incredible like fucking like abstract underground noise scene, and they contribute a lot, man. Let's not throw Yellow Magic Orchestra under the bus.
I would also argue that like
shit.
Japan are
Fashion
iterators as well. Like I think something that Japan does very, very well is taking things that come from other cultures and putting a Japanese spin on it and making it interesting in its own way. I don't listen to a lot of Japanese hip hop, although I do think there's some dope Japanese rappers and producers out there.
There's a few.
But you go to like a Japanese punk show and it does have its own like unique Japanese edge to it that is different because ultimately, the struggles that Japanese people face are not the same struggles that British people face.
It is not.
And then that's why you end up seeing that, genres like punk and hip hop, which are kind of, I suppose revolutionary inherently, they tend to take on a very feminist lean in Japan. You see a lot more women rappers per capita in Japan than you do, in the US or the UK, and same with punk rock. Like, I've been to punk shows where there were like 5 bands and it was all women. And it's like, because obviously here, like, there are issues with like gender inequality and sexism, and otherwise, like, I mean, things are pretty good out here generally in terms of people's material conditions.
Yeah.
So
Speak
this has
on that
nothing
shit,
to do with
dog.
Swindle.
We can agree to disagree. Like,
No, we're gonna get Mega Lay Show back popping again soon. Just wait for it.
I mean, we can agree to disagree on this. Like, the underground scene, and there is originality. I'm not saying there's no originality here in Japan. However, your mainstream artists and people are blowing up. They're basically copying what's hot. And
Sure.
it's what they're doing.
That's everywhere. That's everywhere that has a music industry, though.
This is true, but it's
I mean,
more
there-
prominent
this
here.
is not the mainstream.
There's very few artists that fucking explode out of obscurity in the United States that come from all mainstream culture flow is downstream from subculture, and so all the dope shit is really in the nooks and the crannies, and it's never happening on Main Street. Heaven is on Main Street.
I would love to see Swindle like doing movie soundtracks.
He should be scoring. Why are you not scoring, Swindle?
But on the other hand,
Trent
like,
Reznor's doing that shit.
maybe that's just not what he wants to do.
Maybe.
I don't know what his intentions are. I think Swindle is someone who's always just wanted to make great art.
He's doing
and
it.
someone who's extremely talented at making great art, and just as a composer, an incredibly talented person. And that's, I think that's Swindle.
Shout out to
The New
Swindle.
World.
I'm a fan now. I will continue to listen. I'm also going to check out the MCs I'll like off this album a little bit more. And next time you see me, I might be tossing a little bit of a bruv in it. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, man. Secret House, like, comment, subscribe.
Secret House. Bun
Yes.
all right.
Oh, El Spadia 2 coming out November 16th. Tell me how garbage my music is.
Buy his album.
Easy.
Give him your money before you tell it's trash, though. Like, give him your money.
J.K. Rowling.